So, hey everybody, welcome to another highlight interview in FAVA. This week, we have a special candidate called Alexander Molina, who is a graphic designer. He was hired 2 months ago by Eddie Malouf for Media, one of our biggest clients, and an agency that is super, on top of their game when it comes to e-commerce and design in general. So welcome, Alexander. How's everything going, man?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Everything's great here. Happy
You're
to be
based
here.
in
Excited.
Ecuador, right?
Sorry?
You're based in Ecuador, right?
Yeah, I'm in Ecuador right now. It's 6:16 right now. A bit. It's about to be
Just 1 hour, one hour ahead.
1 hour difference. Yeah.
Sure. Awesome, man. So as you know, today we're going to be talking about your journey as a graphic designer. So for the ones who don't know, we're going to be talking about mostly 4 things. One is how to get a job as a graphic designer. One is how to get started, where to learn it, how to get good at it, how to create a winning graphic design portfolio that actually lands you jobs, how to ace the interview and skill test, and finally his experience with FAVA. So let's get started. So Alex, tell me a little bit about how do you get your first job? How do you get your first job as a graphic designer? What does it take?
I've been playing this graphic designing game for like 12 years. It's been quite a journey. So my first job was actually came to me with the opportunity appeared after I practically finished my college years. I was actually doing my internships in a lot of companies, but mainly in these companies is basically a printing company. It was called Equatorial. I was practically 6 months there working as an intern. It was an amazing experience. I learned a lot. I learned probably more working there than through my whole career and college. And it was a really fun experience to actually like get to know people, get to know clients, know how the media works, because that's probably like the hardest part, because when you're in college, you don't really get to understand the difference between doing an assignment that it was given to you by a teacher and then an assignment given to you for a real client. And that changes everything. And so it was a really enriching experience. Besides that, after that, I went, as I said, my first job was there as an internship. And then because I was so adapted to the way they worked and I loved it there, they realized that I could be like a nice candidate to actually start working then as a position inside the company. So I worked for them for like 4 years, and then after that, move on to other opportunities. Mm-hmm.
Awesome, man. So you got started in graphic design. So you studied in college, right? As a teacher.
Yeah. If you ask me, that's the best way to actually become a graphic designer, because there's a big difference. People think that, here, at least in Latin America, mostly people think that you can actually learn like the softwares, like Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, or even nowadays Canva, and say, I know the software now, I'm a designer. No, that's the biggest difference between that is like, sure, you can know the software, but you will never know the concepts that make a good graphic designer. And that's when a college education really helps you. Most people could tell me like, I learned that at work, but if you actually are able to afford a good education, do it. Go to a college that actually gives you a good, the courses that you take are literally really good at graphic design. Concept creation is mainly like a really big thing, concept creation. How to structureize and conceptualize a design, that's another one that is huge, that changes things, changes the way you actually comprehend an assignment and actually develop the ideas towards what will be better for the client. See, not just it looks good. It's more like, what do you want to tell? What's the story you want to tell through your design so the client actually clicks or buys or whatever it is we want the client to do. So as I said, that's like the big difference between learning the software and studying graphic design.
Right. So one thing is knowing like how to use the technical programs, right? InDesign, and the other thing is how to actually tell a story, how to convey a concept using those tools, right?
Exactly. That it's just like, as you said, it's just a tool. Without sometimes you could even compare it to like a swordsman. Your tools are the sword, but if you're not a good swordsman, doesn't matter if you have the best sword, you won't be able to be an efficient warrior. It's the same thing. I mean, it's a weird analogy, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it works like that. I mean, you can. I actually work with people that were really good at dealing with the software, that probably even knew more than I did. But the difference between them and me was the capacity to actually create concepts through graphics, or to actually tell a story to a graphic. See, to get to the client, get to the person that actually is seeing this. Whether this is a mail, a post in social media, or a video, or whatever. You know, it's that. And as I said, that's developed through your education. I would even dare to say that as you work, as I told you, I've been working for 12 years, and I've been in a lot of jobs, from the publicity agencies to another printing companies. My last job was actually in packaging design, which was really awesome. Opened up a huge new world to me. But all of those things fit you, make you a better creator, So that's, as I said, that's the big difference. I mean, most people neglect that, and that is the big difference between like being here to being here, and to be able to get jobs anywhere,
Right. And for someone who is just starting, would you say, what's the best way to actually get good at it? Is it practicing more? Is it studying more, taking more courses? Is it analyzing other people's work? What do you think?
Consuming. For me, it was that. It was consuming everything. I mean, get into the environment, and by consuming, I just don't mean graphic design. I mean, I get inspiration from anything. It could be a movie, it could be a comic book, it could be, I don't know, a TV show, whatever. I mean, every single thing fits you, and that's the thing, to actually learn to eat, to consume that, and to use it in your work, and how to get better will be to practice. I mean, practice makes it. I mean, I've known a lot of talented people that are really good at what they do, but they don't take the time to practice. They don't take the time to actually do the work, and that's how they won't reach the levels that they could by practicing. So, and what do I mean by practicing? For example, when I was in my first years of college studying graphic design, one of my teachers told me that the best way to actually start to understand how to develop ideas was to actually draw. It doesn't matter if you're bad or you're good, just draw any idea you have. For example, back then I was working on like branding designs, like logos and stuff like that, and the best way to actually do that is to actually do as much doodles and ideas, like brainstorming on your own. So the best ally you get as a graphic designer in your first years is probably have a sketchbook in which you can actually just draw whatever it is you want to do. I mean, just don't be afraid to do it. I'm telling you. I mean, most people are like, yeah, I'm not good drawing. Who cares? Do it.
So what would be your tips to creating a winning graphic design portfolio? A portfolio that actually gets you the dream job, not just a portfolio that say, hey, I've done this and this here and there.
I will probably say the story. I mean, telling the story. I mean, in my portfolio, I have a lot of branding design. I love branding design. I mean, it's probably one of the things that I enjoy the most. And for me, that's the magic of logos, that they tell a story. You tell the story of the company for which the logo belongs. So in that can be applied to anything. As I said, it could be applying to an email, to a Facebook post, an Instagram, whatever. I mean, it goes through that, the idea to actually tell a story. So in your portfolio, do the same. Tell a story. Tell the story of who you are. You're telling your story then, And don't be afraid to do it, to show your work, to show the stuff you're doing, to actually, if you can combine it with blog posts of, like with text of how do you develop the idea. For example, in graphic design, one of the best things that you can do for a winning portfolio would be to show how the work developed. Like, for example, go from sketches to like uh, more defined ones with colors, maybe even color work, like the variations of the color you try to choose, and then actually the final product or final options, and then the one that was the winner. See, because as I said, you tell the story. You tell the story of how it began and how it ended. See, and it shows the work. I mean, it shows all the things you did to actually get there. So.
Sure. So let's show here for a second. I'm gonna actually share screen, share your portfolio. So this is your portfolio. You can see here that, as you say, there's a lot of commercial work. And man, I've seen you work with very big brands like Liberty, Scott. I mean, Scott's a huge brand internationally. Essica. Did you get these jobs through the printing shop as a freelance?
Okay, these ones were done in a company, in a publicity agency that I worked back in 2000. That was 2015, and they work with these brands. So and it was mostly a BTL agency. So they were basically events, like branding activations and stuff like that. So these renders were actually done for the events. See, for example, other things that we used to do was actually like help. For example, this restaurant called Hanso, we actually like help them conceptualize an idea for a space in the restaurant for I don't know, a lounge bar, you know. So it was stuff like that. I mean, and as I said again, how do you get to this stuff? And how do you actually work with brands that are big? Is to don't get the idea that they're huge brands. Like, I don't know, I get a contract for Coca-Cola tomorrow, and I'm like, oh my god, I have to do this for Coca-Cola, and I get like nervous about working for them. That will block you, and you won't be able to do it. So the idea is to don't let the big clients overwhelm you.
So don't put them in a pedestal, right?
Yeah, don't put them in a pedestal. At the end of the day, it's just another client. I mean, whatever the money it is they're paying, that's irrelevant. They're just another client.
Yeah.
They need to have a story told. That's that.
Yeah.
So you just work with that. Don't get overwhelmed by like working with big brands. For example, here I also done a couple of work for like the government of my country, and that one was another one. I mean, here is like huge. Back in those years. The government invested in a lot in publicity, so it was like a huge clients to have, and at the same time it was like a big responsibility to handle them. But as I said, I mean, it's like, don't get overwhelmed, get through it. Don't be afraid to be bold at what you do. Like if you have to take some bold decisions, don't be afraid to take them, because at the end of the day, the worst thing that can happen is the client could say, yeah, I don't like it, and then you just change it, and it's fine. See.
Yeah. And besides this, because I know commercial design maybe doesn't allow to be as bold as something more creative.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you would like to share, like another portfolio or something else which actually, you know, elicits more the response that you were talking about, the boldness besides this?
Yeah, I mean, right now I don't really have some prepared, but I can talk about it.
Sure.
Like, for example, in my last job, as I told you, I was working in packaging design.
Yeah.
This is mainly in industrial design. It has nothing to do with the graphical part, but I wanna talk about maybe the experience it was.
Yeah.
Because this company that I was working for handled most of the packaging of a lot of big brands like Nestle, Ile, which is a big brand for teas, for like the little bags of tea. Which was another big one? Coca-Cola was one. We actually work with Coca-Cola, with PepsiCo, which actually handles the Pepsi products. Which one was another one? Well, the point is that, I mean, so in packaging design, most of the time the client asks you to do a box from this size, from a certain size, or to actually like depict a certain graphic on the box, and that's that. When I was working there, what made me so, how to put it, what made me so good at it was that I was not afraid to change what the client asked for. So sometimes the client would ask me to just like do one single packaging for a box, and I did like 3 options, like in those in two of those three options, I went nuts. Like I added stuff that the client didn't ask about, like change, for example, how the box like closed, or how the product was placed. And obviously I at the same time I actually like showed how the graphics were, like logos and information the packaging was going to put in the new one. And most of the time they liked it. So it was obviously more money for the company, because making my boxes were more expensive than making the ones that the client wanted. See? So as I said, I mean, if you're gonna be bold, but obviously do it well, because you can go crazy, and if it doesn't work, well, what's the point? You know? So yeah.
Awesome, man. So whenever, how do you get in contact with us? Was it through an ad? Was it through a job post in a Facebook group? You remember?
That one is a really funny story. It's a really funny story. Well, so I got married last February. No, last January. I'll confuse those months, but yeah.
Yeah.
And the photographer that I actually hired for my wedding was Veronica Lombeida.
Nice.
And yeah, and she took the pictures for my wedding and all. And a couple of months, like in September, I mean, we became friends on my wedding.
Yeah.
And a couple of months went by, and on September, she posted on her contact on her WhatsApp status that she was searching for a graphic designer with a good level in English. And my wife saw the status and was like, "Hey, maybe they are searching for a graphic designer with a good level in English, and you're awesome. I mean, you're speaking English all the time, even by yourself. So you should apply." And so I actually contacted Veronica, talked to her, and that's how it all started. After that, it was really fast. I mean, it was probably what was the most how to put it, scary part of it. It was super fast. I mean, I thought it was gonna take like months to get like news about it, and it took like weeks. Sometimes it was days, and it was like super fast, super efficient.
Yeah, that's something we tell our candidates. Like, we have thousands of people who apply. However, for the top candidates, we move fast. We want you guys to get hired ASAP. Sometimes clients, like, there are 2 or 3 clients fighting for one candidate. I think in your case, there were 2 clients eyeing your portfolio, and just, it was Eddie who, moved faster. I would say he pulled the trigger. He said, "Yeah, let's hire this guy. Let's set up an interview." So yeah. And by the way, let's circle back on that topic. How do you ace the interview and the skill test? Because that's where typically some clients have a great video application, great portfolio, but in the interview, they either get too nervous or they fail the skill test. So what would you suggest to guys who are applying?
Yeah, okay. It really goes in it. When it comes to the interview, I will probably say that the best tip that I can give you is to be calm. So don't get overwhelmed by the situation. I know this is an opportunity of a new job, but try to deal with it as a conversation with a new friend. See, just chill. I mean, introduce yourself, talk about what you do. Don't be afraid to joke if you have to joke. I mean, just have a chill conversation with that person is the best way to handle it. I actually believe that probably one of the biggest problems is to be like too serious about it. Just be calm, chill about it. Talk. Obviously, be direct of what you're talking. Like, don't circle around stuff. Like, if they ask you about your experience, but be really efficient at what you're saying. Like, I did this in this time of my career, and I can do this for you. What can I offer to you? How will I offer that to you? How will we get there? And besides that, yeah, I mean, be kind. That will probably say that. I mean, maybe the best thing that you can do in any job, and probably just in life, is to be a good person, be a kind person. I mean, if you're willing to help whoever it is you can help, do it. Yeah.
Right. And besides that, in your case, you definitely speak good English. But for someone who is kind of beginner in that level or not as fluent, what would you tell them? Like, how can they get good at interviewing in a few weeks or months?
Prepare yourself. That will probably be like write it down on a piece of paper on your computer, on your cell phone. Like, as I said, like the topics that you want to talk, that you want to say, like the big stuff from your portfolio, the big stuff from your career that you want to show, and practice on a mirror. Look at yourself in the mirror with the stuff that you want to talk about. Obviously, picturing that you're in an interview, but just that. I mean, chill and don't learn it by memory, because obviously at that point in the interview, you won't know if they will ask you exactly that, or they will change the topic. So don't learn it by memory, but at least know that by heart. I know this. It's fine. Practice as much as you can in front of a mirror. Get used to the words. Get used to the pronunciation. Maybe, as I said, practice with another person that maybe knows more English than you, to actually correct you if you're mispronouncing something, or maybe that sentence doesn't sound right. Change it to this. So yeah, I mean, it's the best way to do it. I would say if you're not that fluent, for you to be efficient. Well, obviously, that's the main one. You actually asked me something about like how to ace your test, like the skill test that they give to you. Well, as I said, that one in my case, it was for veterinary naturals. Actually, the client that I asked for the what was my skill test that I got assigned, and this is a brand that actually handles pet products.
Yeah.
And well, at that point, one of the things that I actually how to put it, in other cases, I would have like checked who this brand is. I mean, who are these people? What kind of colors do they use in their website? What kind of pictures do they use in the website? What kind of photos they use? How they show their products? But in this case, I was like, I want to be bold. I don't want to marry myself with how they handle their website. So I'm just gonna find the logo, and I'm gonna go nuts. And I literally did that. I just found the logo, and obviously got pictures of dogs and elements that actually looked good and went with the colors of the brand. I mean, at least the logo. And as I said, made the best that I could do, not knowing who the client really was. See, and for me it worked. See, as I said, it was a really bold decision, because in other situations I would have done that, like literally enter the page, check the client like completely, what they do, what they don't do, and then do the graphic design. But that wouldn't have been a problem, because it would have enclosed me in a cube of doing just that, and it would have neglected all of the other stuff that I could have done, which is what made me different from all the other candidates. See, because when I actually got hired, I mean, I got into my first meeting with my team members, a level that I was actually going to work with. Natalia, which is my boss, she told me like what was the big difference between me and the other people was the amount of work I put it on the elements, on the graphics, on the information that I actually put on the pictures that I put it there. Practically speaking, the bold decisions that I actually took, because she told me, I mean, we would have never used your graphic for this client because they are really like super traditional. Their brand is super minimalistic, and this would have never worked for them. But we like that you did it, that you didn't have fear of actually being bold and brave at what you're working here in your assignment.
And I'm going to share right now briefly for the people who are watching the design you actually did.
Oh yeah,
this is the design that Alex did. This is for an email marketing campaign, and there was another candidate that came like in second place. She also did a very good job, but there were other candidates that did very basic, like a PowerPoint style. Like they really didn't think outside the box. So that's why obviously Alex got the job. You got the job in the first interview, and the skill test was like, yeah, wow, this guy definitely knows what he's doing. So finally, and this is my last question to end, how was your overall experience with FAVA? I mean, besides Veronica, how was your first interview? How did it go? How were you treated?
As I said, I mean, your guys are awesome. I mean, you were really fast at what you do, super efficient, super organized. I mean, as I said, I was surprised at how fast it was, because most of the time you actually give your information, send your CV, your portfolio, and just wait. And sometimes you never get an answer. But in this case, it was super fast. As I said, I was scared because it was like one day I sent Veronica my stuff, and the other day she was like, you know what, I have an interview maybe next week for you. And I'm like, what? So it was super fast. And as I said, you guys are super organized. The clients you deal with, that's probably what I probably will talk about more. That you guys work with amazing people. Eddie is an amazing guy. I've now that I know him, he's an amazing person. More than just as a professional, I will say as a human being. You know, and that's what makes the difference between working for someone and working with someone. See, because right now I feel like that I'm working with Eddie. I'm not working for Eddie. I'm working with him.
Right.
And that's the cool thing that the way he actually is building for media is just insane. I mean, he sees this as something else, something completely different from how many people handle a publicity agency. He's not afraid to do crazy stuff. We have a blog. We have a YouTube channel. When we actually post stuff, we have like a reality show in the YouTube channel, which is called The Agency, and all that stuff is just super insane, super cool. So that's probably something that for me it was magical to get to know that I'm gonna be working with these guys. Like I'm gonna be working with these guys, and I love For Media. I mean, by far is the best job I've ever had in my life. I mean, as I told you, I've been working for 12 years as a graphic designer. And this is the first time I can say by heart that I love my job. That I'm not like sad to just wake up in the morning and I have another day to work. Say, oh my God, can it end? Now it's like, can I be there? I mean, I wish I could just grab a plane, just get there and work with them in the office. The environment is super awesome.
I've seen their content actually. For the ones who don't know about For Media, these guys over here. Do you take care of any of the edits, like these videos? Are you involved in this?
No, that's another team. But sometimes I help with the graphics, but it's in really special occasions where most of the team is like busy with something else. I help them. But the video is part of the video team. The guys are great. The production team is amazing. The guys know their stuff. So yeah, I mean, as I told you, it's a pleasure to work with them. Each and every one of them is amazing.
Yeah.
And as I said, I mean, that's probably what I can vouch for you as FAVA, that your clients, like the people that are actually hiring professionals, are top-notch people. I mean, and just not professionals, like quality of people, like amazing people in heart. I mean, you know, like they know what they're doing. They have a clear way of how to treat people, and that's probably something that I can actually talk about. That like there's a huge difference between the way you get treated as a professional here in Latin America and in the US. I mean, here in Latin America, you get really neglected. I mean, you're probably like the last wheel in the whole deal, in the whole machine. I mean, if something goes wrong, it's probably your fault.
Yeah, I see in Latin America. I mean, I'm from Peru, and I see there's a lot of just like being the boss, but there is still not a lot of leadership, right? Like Eddie,
exactly.
I know Eddie works a lot about his person, like his personality. He's constantly working about bettering himself, improving himself, being a better public speaker, a better person in general, just before being a great boss, right? And as a result, he's a great leader.
Exactly. That's the point. I mean, because it's easy to say I'm the boss and don't do anything. And that's what most of my boss of the people that I were my bosses through my life have been that. I mean, just like another guy that is just I'm the boss, and that's it. See, what other people, like as I said, Eddie is there with everyone. It's worried about everyone. I actually have we each 2 weeks we actually have a conversation with him, and obviously we show our work to him, and it's super healthy criticism to just become better, you know, better in what we're saying, better how we're handling the mails, how we're handling the like our copy, like the graphics, how they are shown to actually be attractive to the client, you know. And for me that is super important. I mean, and the relationship between your leader, because it's not a boss, I actually hate that term, the leader and their team, you know. And that's what makes
they walk the talk, right? Like there are some agencies that I've seen, this is everywhere, like they don't have a presence, they don't have a website, they don't have They are a video
Exactly.
agency and they don't do video.
Exactly.
They're a graphic design agency and they have poor graphics. But these guys at 4Media, they walk the talk. Like they're video editing, they do video editing for themselves. They do graphic design, they do graphic designs for themselves, right? They run ads. They do run ads for clients. So they show that they know what they're doing.
Yeah, that's the point. I mean, it's like, that's the way to be. You can't just be all talk and no work, you know, like, yeah. So yeah, I mean, as I said, I'm super grateful for the opportunity that you guys allowed me to have. This has been life-changing for my family and myself. I mean, as I said, it's like the best job that I had in my life. So yeah. So yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, that's how we wrap up this interview here. Anything else you would like to share with us before we leave? Or any advice, piece of advice for the end?
As I said, just probably close it up. Be bold at what you do. Don't be afraid to actually be like, go out of the box. And as I said, I mean, the best way to actually handle yourself in life is to be kind and generous with everyone. I mean, if you're able to do that, be a hard worker, help as much as you can. I mean, if you get the job and once you get it, do that. I mean, help as much as you can. Don't be afraid to actually work on the stuff that you probably don't know about. Because I mean, the worst thing that you can say is like, I don't know how to do it. It's the worst thing you can do. I mean, the best way is that I don't know how to do it, but don't worry, I'll figure it out. And search for help, you know, ask someone else that probably knows and have it done, you know. It's probably the best way you can handle it. Yeah.
Thanks, man, again for this interview. For everyone who's going to watch, I hope you enjoyed this interview and have a nice rest of the weekend.
Nice weekend, guys.
Sure. See you, man. Thanks.
See you, man.